researched it enough to say I believe in it, but I do think that there are forms of energy that are orders of magnitude more efficient than anything we're using today.
If you have never heard of Randall Carlson, get ready to discover an incredible architectural designer, Freemason, educator, geometrician, geomythologist, and geological explorer. He has spent more than 35 years studying the relationship between ancient secrets and modern science. Ancient civilizations created astonishing technologies that challenged current understanding, ranging from advanced astronomy equipment to complex engineering feats such as the Great Pyramid. Scientist Malcolm Bendel's team identified a type of energy and tested it in a variety of contexts, including Indian Navy facilities, suggesting groundbreaking possibilities. In his interview, Randall Carlson outlined these amazing innovations, implying that old knowledge outperformed current science. Ancient civilization, impressive technology. Technology dominates the modern world, from simple objects like door handles to very complicated creations like spaceships. Without technology, you wouldn't be seeing this, and the internet wouldn't exist. It's easy to become lost in modern technology and dismiss older periods as primitive and simplistic. However, ancient technology existed, and it paved the way for many of the breakthroughs we enjoy today. Some old inventions are alarming and mysterious, while others are incredible in terms of their foresight. Buildings. Without the benefit of contemporary technology, ancient civilizations built buildings, temples, pyramids, and other structures used a variety of techniques and methods. They employed various technologies such as stone masonry, adobe or mud brick construction, timber construction, earthworks, and cyclopean masonry. These old construction methods frequently needed skilled labor, rigorous design, and hard labor. Despite the lack of sophisticated machinery, ancient civilizations were able to build amazing and long-lasting structures that have survived the test of time. Irrigation. Ancient civilizations used several types of irrigation to manage water supplies and sustain agriculture. They used a variety of techniques and systems, including canals and ditches, aqueducts, wells and bucket systems, terracing, canats, and dams and reservoirs. They were able to maximize agricultural production, support rising populations, and plant crops in areas with little rainfall or water availability by employing these irrigation systems. These old irrigation systems have left a trace in some areas even today. Metalworking. Ancient civilizations employed metalworking techniques to make tools, weapons, jewelry, artistic pieces, and other items out of metals like copper, bronze, iron, and gold. Mining, smelting, casting, forging, alloying, finishing, and decoration were some of the most frequent methods and practices used in ancient metalwork. Metalworking was critical to the technological and cultural growth of ancient civilizations, allowing them to create a vast range of utilitarian and ornamental metal artifacts. Ancient metalworkers' talents and procedures lay the groundwork for more sophisticated metallurgical practices later in history. Medical practice. Ancient civilizations used numerous types of medicines to treat illnesses, injuries, and health problems. Medical treatments in ancient cultures frequently combined empirical observations, herbal medicines, spiritual ceremonies, and early surgical techniques. While ancient medical practices varied between civilizations and areas, they shed light on early approaches to healthcare, anatomy, pharmacology, and surgery. These ancient customs affected the formation of modern medicine and are still researched and valued for their historical significance. Building of Egyptian Pyramid. The ancient Egyptian pyramids, particularly the Great Pyramid of Giza, are still considered technical and architectural marvels today. While the specific procedures utilized by the ancient Egyptians are unknown, archaeologists and researchers have presented many interpretations based on archaeological and historical evidence. While there is ongoing research and debate about the construction techniques used to build the pyramids, the ancient Egyptians combined skilled craftsmanship, meticulous planning, and innovative engineering to create these monumental structures that have stood the test of time. Tools and weapons. Ancient civilizations created a diverse range of tools and weaponry to suit their everyday needs, defend themselves, and engage in numerous activities. The sort of tools and weapons employed changed according to culture, technological breakthroughs, accessible resources, and their intended use. They perfected their talents in tool making and weaponry, allowing them to adapt to changing environmental conditions, defend themselves against attackers, and engage in occupations such as hunting, farming, and crafting. The invention and refinement of tools and weaponry had a profound impact on ancient society's technological accomplishments. Aqueducts. Many ancient civilizations built sophisticated aqueduct systems to transfer water from its source to metropolitan areas, agricultural grounds, and other locations where it was required. Aqueducts were critical infrastructure projects that allowed civilizations to maintain continuous water supplies for drinking, agriculture, public baths, and sanitation. They contributed significantly to the growth and sustainability of ancient civilizations by providing a consistent water supply for a variety of societal purposes. These engineering wonders demonstrated ancient cultures' ingenuity, innovation, and technological prowess in the use and management of water resources. Mayan calendar. The ancient Mayan culture in Mesoamerica developed a complicated timekeeping system known as the Mayan calendar. The Mayans created several interconnected calendar systems to keep track of various time cycles, such as religious ceremonies, agricultural operations, and historical events. The Mayans employed two main calendars called the Tzolk'in and Hab. The Mayan calendar system was extremely advanced for its time and had a tremendous impact on religious rites, governance, astronomy, and daily life. It demonstrated the Mayans' profound mastery of mathematics, astronomy, and the cyclical nature of time. Chinese inventions. Ancient China was the birthplace of several ideas and innovations that not only transformed Chinese society, but also had a significant global impact. Paper, compass, printing, gunpowder, paper money, silk manufacture, and porcelain were among the most significant ancient Chinese technologies that impacted the world. These ancient Chinese inventions not only improved the Chinese people's quality of life, but also revolutionized global history, trade, technology, and culture, creating a lasting impact that can still be felt today. Reverse engineering. Reverse engineering is used to restore and preserve old artifacts and cultural heritage by analyzing, recreating, and repairing historical objects using modern technologies and procedures. This method is widely used in the conservation and restoration of ancient artifacts, artworks, and historical locations to maintain their lifespan and cultural significance. In this context, reverse engineering is used in a variety of ways, including the use of 3D scanning and imaging technology to digitally record and document artifacts and cultural heritage sites. This digital data serves as a resource for conservation efforts and enables virtual reconstructions. Conservators can employ techniques like X-ray fluorescence and infrared spectroscopy to assess the composition and condition of materials used in artifacts. This information directs restoration efforts by identifying appropriate cleaning procedures and repair materials. Reverse engineering allows the rebuilding of damaged or destroyed objects and monuments by digitally reproducing missing components or creating reproductions with 3D printing or traditional handicraft techniques. Advanced engineering technologies such as finite element analysis can be used to mimic the structural behavior of historical structures or artifacts, ensuring their stability and safety during the restoration process. Conservators can use reverse engineering to create personalized conservation strategies, analyze potential dangers during restoration operations, and apply preventive actions to protect cultural heritage items. Digitally rebuilt artifacts can be utilized for teaching, public outreach, and virtual displays, providing greater access to cultural heritage and historical knowledge. Reverse engineering is critical in the restoration and preservation of historical items and cultural heritage because it combines conventional conservation approaches with modern technologies to protect and celebrate our common history and cultural treasures for future generations. Interview with Joe Rogan. Randall Carlson is well known for investigating theories about ancient, advanced technologies, architectural feats, astronomical knowledge, and the possibility that lost civilizations possessed sophisticated scientific understanding. His arguments frequently focus on the possibility that ancient civilizations had access to information or technologies that approached or even surpassed present scientific capabilities in certain areas. Randall Carlson explored ancient technologies in his conversation with Joe Rogan, including advanced engineering skills used to build the Great Pyramids, sophisticated astronomy instruments, and forgotten information that might have competed with modern science. He underlined how these old technologies could provide new insights into our historical and technological evolution. Randall. About plasma. Randall Carlson mentions plasmoid technology in certain interviews, describing it as an advanced ancient technology that could be rediscovered today. He says that plasmoids, which are coherent structures of plasma and magnetic fields, have the potential to revolutionize energy generation, implying that ancient civilizations understood these principles. Carlson underlines the pioneering technology's potential for modern applications. He proposes that ancient civilizations may have known about and exploited advanced technologies such as plasma. For example, the precise slope angle of the Great Pyramid of Giza could imply a knowledge of energy movement and natural forces. This information might have permitted the creation of structures that effectively used natural energy. Graham Hancock compares the current state of plasma technology to the early days of electricity, emphasizing that, just as electricity transformed the world once its potential was realized, plasmoid technology has the potential to revolutionize energy generation and utilization soon, highlighting the untapped possibilities of this advanced field. Mystery of moving massive stones. Scientists, archaeologists, and historians have debated and speculated extensively about the technology and methods employed by ancient civilizations to build gigantic structures, such as pyramids, temples, and megalithic sites. While there are different explanations and speculations, scholars generally agree that ancient people built these structures using advanced techniques as well as manual labor. Scientists think that ancient civilizations, including the Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, and Mayans, used advanced engineering techniques like precision masonry, surveying, and architectural design to build their gigantic structures. Examples include accurate stone cutting, astronomical alignments, and sophisticated mathematical calculations. Archaeological data, experimental archaeology, and reliefs portraying construction scenes all indicate that ramps and levers were essential tools for moving enormous stones and building tall structures. While equipment such as chisels, hammers, and ropes were necessary in ancient construction endeavors, most agree that manual labor played an important role in the building process. Over many years, skilled stonemasons, workers, and craftsmen collaborated to build these amazing monuments, drawing on their skills and physical strength. The idea that ancient civilizations used anti-gravity devices or other advanced technologies is unsupported by scientific data. The consensus is that ancient builders used well-established engineering principles, human inventiveness, and hard effort to produce spectacular architectural marvels. While researchers recognize the ingenuity and skill of ancient builders, evidence suggests that these civilizations achieved their architectural achievements through practical tools, material knowledge, and organizational skills rather than speculative technologies such as anti-gravity devices. The agreement is that ancient engineering was a combination of technical methods, hard labor, and skillful craftsmanship that enabled these civilizations to build long-lasting monuments that still inspire awe and interest today. Plasma technology use. Plasma technology, or the use and manipulation of plasma, the fourth state of matter, has several uses in a variety of sectors and fields. It is used to treat, clean, etch, and modify materials in industries such as semiconductor manufacturing, aerospace, and automotive. Plasma can improve the adhesion, wettability, and surface characteristics of materials. It is used in medical applications such as sterilization, wound healing, and cancer treatment. Cold atmospheric plasma is being investigated for its antibacterial characteristics and potential use in the treatment of infections and skin problems. Plasma technology is used in nuclear fusion research, which seeks to mimic the energy-generating processes of the sun on Earth. Fusion reactors use plasma to provide sustainable and clean energy. It is also utilized in sophisticated lighting systems, such as plasma lamps and screens, to provide energy-efficient and high-quality lighting solutions for a variety of applications. It can be used for environmental remediation and waste management. Plasma procedures can help degrade dangerous compounds, purify water, and reduce harmful emissions. Plasma technology is used in many different applications, including spacecraft propulsion, aircraft protective coatings, and radar-absorbent materials. Plasma thrusters offer effective propulsion for satellites and spacecraft. Plasma technology is used in biotechnology to study cells, modify tissues, and remove biofilms. Cold plasma therapy has the potential to decontaminate medical equipment while also improving material biocompatibility. Plasma technology improves the characteristics of textiles by increasing color absorption, antibacterial qualities, and water resistance. Functional coatings applied utilizing plasma methods can increase the value of textile items. Overall, plasma technology is a versatile and powerful instrument for a variety of applications, including industrial manufacturing, medical therapies, environmental remediation, and energy generation. Plasma technology's potential for new solutions in a variety of industries is being expanded through ongoing research and advancements. Dr. John S. Foster. Dr. John S. Foster created plasma-enhanced combustion for engines, a revolutionary technology that uses plasma to improve combustion processes in internal combustion engines and gas turbines. This technology tries to improve fuel ignition, accelerate combustion, and maximize fuel economy while lowering emissions by introducing plasma into the combustion chamber or air-fuel mixture. Overall, plasma-enhanced combustion technology has significant promise for improving engine efficiency, performance, and environmental impact by optimizing combustion processes and fuel usage. Ongoing research and development in this subject aim to improve the capabilities of plasma technology for engine combustion applications. He also designed a plasma-based purification plant, which is a specialized facility that treats and purifies a wide range of substances, including water, air, and hazardous waste. Plasma technology, which uses high energy and ionized gases, has unique properties for breaking down impurities and pollutants via chemical reactions and physical processes. Plasma-based purification systems provide a versatile and efficient method for treating a wide range of waste, pollutants, and contaminants. By using plasma technology's unique characteristics, these plants can provide effective and long-term solutions for environmental remediation, resource recovery, and pollution control in a variety of applications. These inventions demonstrate plasma technology's potential to improve industrial applications and promote cleaner, more sustainable practices in a variety of sectors. Thunderstorm generator. A thunderstorm generator is not a commonly used or acknowledged device or technology in meteorology or atmospheric research. Thunderstorms are natural meteorological phenomena that occur when warm, moist air rises quickly, cools, and condenses, resulting in cumulonimbus clouds, lightning, thunder, and rain. Thunderstorms serve an important role in the Earth's water cycle, causing extreme weather events including hail, powerful winds, and tornadoes. While humans lack the technology to generate thunderstorms on command, there have been studies and trials into cloud seeding techniques to increase precipitation in clouds for weather modification objectives. However, these strategies aim to increase rainfall rather than cause thunderstorms. In popular science fiction or hypothetical situations, the concept of a thunderstorm generator may be employed as a story device or inventive technique for creating or controlling artificial thunderstorms. Thunderstorms are complicated natural phenomena influenced by atmospheric conditions and interactions, and their production cannot be controlled by a man-made technology. Plasma-assisted combustion. Plasma-assisted combustion is a method that uses plasma to improve combustion in internal combustion engines, gas turbines, and other combustion systems. This technology improves fuel economy, lowers emissions, and optimizes combustion stability by infusing plasma into the combustion chamber or fuel-air mixture. Plasma discharges can produce high-energy electrons and reactive species, resulting in faster and more reliable ignition of the air-fuel combination in the combustion chamber. This results in more steady combustion and higher engine performance. Plasma can encourage rapid flame propagation and help to increase flame speed within the combustion chamber. This leads to faster and more complete combustion of the fuel-air mixture. Plasma-assisted combustion can improve fuel efficiency by boosting complete combustion, minimizing unburned hydrocarbons, and optimizing the fuel-air mixing process. Plasma technology reduces undesirable pollutants like nitrogen oxides and particulate matter by allowing for cleaner and more efficient fuel burning. This reduces pollutant emissions and improves environmental performance. Plasma-assisted combustion allows engines to run more effectively with thinner fuel-air mixes. plasma technique improves combustion stability and efficiency, allowing for leaner fuel usage, potentially resulting in lower fuel consumption and emissions. Plasma technology improves combustion stability by strengthening flame stability, permitting reliable ignition and increasing thermal efficiency within the combustion chamber. This results in smoother engine functioning and improved performance. Plasma-assisted combustion technologies are a viable way to optimize engine combustion processes, increase fuel efficiency, and reduce pollutants. Ongoing research and development in this sector aim to improve the capabilities of plasma-assisted combustion for a variety of engines and applications. Indian Navy Admiral involvement. In an interview, Randall Carlson claimed that a retired Indian admiral flew from India to take part in sophisticated technology testing. This involvement demonstrates the global interest and collaboration in researching and validating groundbreaking ideas, emphasizing the significance and potential effect of these new technical advancements. The Indian Navy is interested in incorporating these breakthroughs into naval operations, highlighting the worldwide collaboration and potential influence of these groundbreaking advances on military and defense operations. Reduces harmful emission. According to Randall Carlson, prior to plasma technology, generators emitted toxic gases such as carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, and particle matter, which contributed to air pollution and environmental damage. Carbon monoxide is created by incomplete combustion of fuel and a lack of oxygen. Automobiles are thought to account for over 90% of CO emissions, and among the different gases generated, CO emissions were the first to be controlled. When inhaled by humans, this gas causes a hemolytic reaction, which leads to poisoning. However, diesel generators have more thorough combustion than gasoline engines. Therefore, the amount of CO produced is much lower. Nitrogen oxides refer to a group of chemicals that include NO, N02, N20, and N202. It is created by combining nitrogen and oxygen molecules at high temperatures. In addition to automobiles, cigarettes and stoves emit NOx. The higher the combustion temperature, the easier it is to emit NOx. As a result, while designing a diesel engine, the combustion temperature must be adequately reduced. Particle matter is a broad term for particulate matter generated by diesel engines, primarily soot. It is made up of the residual fuel and lubricant components after combustion, as well as the components produced by sulfur combustion in light oil fuel. This is why Carlson emphasized the cleaner environmental benefits of plasma technology, as well as the increase in oxygen levels caused by its use. How plasma technology was used in ancient times. Randall Carlson has noted that ancient civilizations had advanced technologies equivalent to modern developments, implying that they had knowledge like today's technology. He emphasizes the ongoing efforts to comprehend and duplicate these old technological achievements. Ancient civilizations may have interacted with plasma in its natural state, and it is plausible that they saw phenomena such as lightning or the color-changing capabilities of specific fires. However, the deliberate use of plasma technology as we know it now would not have existed in ancient times. Khufu Pyramid. According to Randall Carlson, the builders of the Great Pyramid of Giza may have been excellent architects and engineers rather than modern-day mathematicians or physicists. They possessed a thorough understanding of geometry, astronomy, and engineering principles, enabling them to design and build such spectacular structures. When building the pyramids, they used a slope angle of 51.83 degrees, suggesting a strong awareness of geometry and their surroundings. They might use these constructions to generate energy. While their work utilized mathematical principles and accurate measurements, it's worth noting that they probably did not approach their profession with the same codified disciplines that we do today. To construct structures such as the Great Pyramid, ancient Egyptian builders relied on practical knowledge gathered over decades of trial and error. Their mastery of these practical abilities enabled them to accomplish extraordinary architectural feats without relying on advanced mathematical or physical theories. Vortex. A vortex is a fluid flow pattern defined by a swirling motion around a central point. Tornadoes, whirlpools, and dust devils are examples of natural phenomena that exhibit vortices, in which the fluid revolves around an axis. Vortices can also be artificially generated or harnessed for a variety of purposes. For example, in engineering, Vortex generators are used to manipulate airflow across surfaces to reduce drag or increase lift in airplanes. Vortices serve an important role in understanding fluid behavior in motion. Overall, vortices are intriguing patterns that appear in both natural and man-made systems, displaying the complexities and dynamics of fluid motion. Vortex technology in pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza, at 51.84 meters tall, is thought to harness vortex energy due to its precise design. Its geometry concentrates natural energy from the soil and environment, which could power lights and tools. Some believe the interior may have therapeutic properties due to vortex energy. Ancient spiritual practices imply significant technological knowledge, pointing at unexplored applications for these structures. Further investigation may reveal new insights into both old technology and spiritual understanding. While pyramids have been the subject of numerous ideas and speculations about their potential uses and purposes, the concept of vortex technology in relation to pyramids is not supported by mainstream scientific understanding or archaeological data. It is crucial to examine such claims with skepticism and look for credible sources and proof to back up any outrageous claims. The study of ancient structures such as pyramids is a fascinating field that relies on archaeological data, historical context, and scientific analysis rather than fanciful or pseudo-scientific conceptions such as vortex technology. Public demonstrations. Randall Carlson publicly showcases antique technology at numerous conferences. These demonstrations help visitors grasp the advanced knowledge and techniques used by ancient civilizations. Indian Navy. Randall Carlson publicly shows ancient technologies, notably to the Indian Army, which is investigating these tactics to safeguard its vast coastline. Their ships and submarines already consume significant amounts of oil, resulting in pollution that threatens marine wildlife and water quality. By implementing this technology, the Indian Army hopes to reduce fuel consumption, save money, and reduce environmental effect, strengthening both defense and sustainability initiatives. Different industries. Public displays of technology have transformed several businesses, lowering pollutants and increasing manufacturing efficiency. By demonstrating these methods, more people became aware of their potential. This understanding has enabled industry to adopt cleaner, more efficient processes and increasing output while reducing environmental impact. Alchemy science. The Sean Ryan Show covered alchemy science, including its ancient origins in Egypt, China, and India. Alchemy, a combination of philosophy, mysticism, and early chemistry, sought to convert basic materials into noble ones, such as lead to gold. Transmutation is the process by which protons and electrons alter their electronic state and move. During transmutation, protons and electrons are rearranged to change an element's atomic structure and characteristics. This indicates that technology was influencing the atomic structure of materials at ambient temperature. Application of transmutation. Transmutation is the process of converting one chemical element into another by changing the number of protons in the atomic nucleus. Although transmutation is a fundamental idea in nuclear physics and chemistry, it has few practical uses in controlled environments. Nuclear power facilities use transmutation processes to change certain isotopes of elements into more stable forms via nuclear reactions. This aids in the management of radioactive waste and improves the efficiency of nuclear fuel. Transmutation procedures are utilized in nuclear medicine to produce radioisotopes that are useful in diagnostic imaging and cancer treatment. Transmutation can also be used in scientific research, such as producing rare isotopes to examine nuclear properties or doing elemental analysis.
What kind of events are we looking at here whose aftermath is this?
The energy required is astonishing. We look at all the cross-section of possible explanations within the realm of nature. We can go through and we can eliminate this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and what we're left with is one that of itself would be fully capable of doing. I believe that it was a series of impacts that caused the rapid melting of the ice sheet. There are bombardment epochs. You may have periods of time where you have multiple impacts occurring over a short period of time associated with the destruction and disintegration of large comets, or even multiple impacts occurring all at once. Go back to the Ice Age, there's
approximately 6 to 7 million additional square miles of the Earth's surface that is covered by massive ice sheets. Most of that is in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, if you have a bombardment in the Northern Hemisphere at this time, the chances are much higher that that impact could have been into an ice sheet. Once you get the eyes to see, it's that obvious. You're seeing wounds in the surface of the Earth from ancient catastrophes, ancient disasters.
Hidden in the global landscape is a story, an amazing story. And it's a story that essentially, without that story, we're going to have no understanding of our own place in the natural order of things. We'll have no understanding of the deep view of human history on planet Earth. Civilization exists by geological consent, subject to change without notice. We modern humans have been on this planet for 150 to 200,000 years at least. If we go back, say, I think the oldest modern human skeleton ever found was named Homo adultu, and he dates to about 180,000 years roughly. If we think of a generation of humans as 25 years, that's 7,000 generations of humans. The question is what were we doing for all those thousands of generations until somebody finally realized, hey, you know what? We can plant crops, we can build cities, we can form communities, we can invent language, etc., etc. Well, when we go back and we realize that modern history is separated from deep history by this extraordinary series of events that transpired between about 11 and 13 or 14,000 years ago. Once we begin to recognize how extreme these events were in remodeling our planet, totally remodeling our planet, it then becomes obvious to us why there is not a lot of hard evidence for whatever went on prior to these events. The recorded history goes back 5,000 or 6,000 years. When we look at the emergence of modern civilization, we would basically trace it back to 9,000 or 10,000 years ago with the emergence of agriculture, the dispersion of languages, the first cities, and so forth. What we see at the very beginnings of recorded history is an obsession with the sky. Now, of course, we're most familiar with the story of Noah's Ark, because of the Judeo-Christian tradition. But there are hundreds, literally hundreds of stories from all over the world that parallel the story of Noah. Deucalion, Xisthros, Utnapishtim, Manu. The list goes on of these culture heroes that somehow had foreknowledge of this impending disaster and were able to take steps to preserve themselves, their family, some diverse cross-section of species, and they all have this, similarity. We now know from the hard geological record that massive floods have taken place on the surface of the Earth. Massive floods. Beyond anything that we have even imagined up until a decade or a few decades ago. They're real. Okay, on the other hand, we have stories and myths and legends repeatedly. It's probably the most ubiquitous of all the stories that we've inherited from the past, is this story of this gigantic world-destroying flood. My contention is what we're really seeing 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 years ago is not the origins of civilization, but the rebooting of civilization. If you ask most people, almost everybody's heard of Atlantis, but you say, well, where did this story come from? Where did it originate? Well, as far as our own scholarly understanding of it, it emanated from Plato. What you have to do is, if you're going to address the question of Atlantis, is you have to address the veracity of Plato's account. Did he mean it metaphorically or did he mean it literally? To make that judgment, I think you have to go directly to Plato himself. So that's what I do. I go to Plato, and the Atlantis accounts showed up in two of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. The story goes that they're sitting there at the Socratic Forum. It's Socrates, Timaeus, Critias, Plato, and perhaps one other unidentified individual. And they're all telling stories. It's a round table, and each one is supposed to tell us an enlightening story. And when it comes to turn of Critias, this is Critias the Younger, he tells the story that he heard from his grandfather, Critias the Elder, who in turn heard it from his uncle, Dropidas, who in turn heard it from Solon, the Egyptian poet and lawgiver, who did a 10-year exile in Egypt, roughly 100 years before Plato's time. While in Egypt, he heard the tale of Atlantis from elderly Egyptian priests.
Socrates says, very good, he's speaking to Critias, very good. And what is this ancient famous action of which Critias spoke, not as mere legend, but as a veritable action, veritable meaning true, which Solon recounted? Then listen, Socrates, to a strange tale which is, however, certainly true. Thither came Solon, who was received by them, the Egyptian priests, with great honor. And he asked the priests, who were most skillful in such matters, about antiquity, and made the discovery that neither he nor any other Hellene or Greek knew anything worth mentioning about the times of old. On one occasion, when he, Solon, was drawing them on to speak of antiquity, he began to tell about the most ancient things in our part of the world, about Phronius, who is called the First, and about Niobe. Now, Niobe was the queen of Thebes, the daughter of Tantalus. And after the deluge, to tell of the lives of Deucalion and Pyrrha, and he traced the genealogy of their descendants and attempted to reckon how many years old were the events of which he was speaking, and to give dates. He says, thereupon one of the priests, who was of a very great age, said, O Solon, you Hellenes are but children, and there is never an old man who is a Hellene. Solon, hearing this, said, What do you mean? I mean to say, replied the old priest, that in mind you are all young. There is no old opinion handed down among you by ancient tradition, nor any science which is hoary with age. And I will tell you the reason for this. There have been, and will be again, many destructions of mankind, arising out of many causes. But the greatest have been brought about by the agencies of fire and water. Then he goes on to say, this is the preface. Now, this is the preface to the story of Atlantis, which I find extremely significant. There is a story. Now, this is still the old priest talking to Solon. He says, there is a story which even you Hellenes that are like children, who don't know anything about the past like we do, there's a story which even you have preserved, that once upon a time Phaeton, the son of Helios, having yoked the steeds in his father's chariot, but because he was not able to drive them in the path of his father, burned up all that was upon the earth, and was himself destroyed by a thunderbolt. Phaeton was the son of Helios, but didn't know it. So he's there going to his school, and all of the boys are bragging about how great their fathers are, but Phaeton didn't know who his father was. So he goes to his mother, and he says, I want to know about my father. And she says, well, I guess you're old enough. I'm going to reveal it to you now. He is nobody less than the sun god himself. And so Phaeton decides that he wants to make this journey to where his father, the sun god, resides, and meet his father. So he goes there, eventually finds the place in the heavens, right? And his father is so glad to see him, he says, I will grant you any boon or any promise that you want. So then Phaeton says, well, I want to drive your chariot. So this is actually an extract now from Bullfinch's mythology, extracts from the fall of Phaeton. And this is Helios now speaking. He says, suppose I should lend you the chariot, what would you do? Could you keep your course while the sphere was revolving under you? Perhaps you think that there are forests and cities, the abodes of the gods, and palaces and temples on the way. On the contrary, the road is through the midst of frightful monsters. You pass by the horns of the bull, Taurus, in front of the archer, Sagittarius, and near the lion's jaws. and where the scorpion stretches its arms in one direction and the crab in another. He's describing the plane of the ecliptic, which is also the region of short-period comets. He gets the chariot, the gates open, the steeds run out, pulling the chariot, and immediately realize that the hand on the reins is weak and not powerful and commanding like Helios. So then they immediately take off. And then it goes on, when hapless Phaeton looked down upon the earth, now spreading in vast extent beneath him, he grew pale and his knees shook with terror. In spite of the glare all around him, the sight of his eyes grew dim. He wished he had never touched his father's horses, never learned his parentage, never prevailed in his request. He is borne along like a vessel that flies before a tempest, when the pilot can do no more and betakes himself to prayers. He turns his eyes from one direction to the other, now to the goal whence he began his course, now to the realms of sunset, which he is not destined to reach. He sees with terror the monstrous forms scattered over the surface of the heaven. Here the scorpion extended his two great arms with his tail and crooked claws stretching over two signs of the zodiac. When the boy beheld him reeking with poison and menacing with his fangs, his courage failed, and the reins fell from his hand. The horses, when they felt them loose on their backs, dashed headlong and unrestrained, went off into unknown regions of the sky, in among the stars, hurling the chariot over pathless places, now up in high heaven, now down almost to earth. The moon saw with astonishment her brother's chariot running beneath her own. The clouds began to smoke, the mountaintops take fire, the fields are parched with heat, the plants wither, the trees with their leafy branches burn, the harvest is ablaze. But these are small things. Great cities perished, with their walls and towers, whole nations with their people were consumed to ashes. The forest-clad mountains burned, with fires within and without, and Parnassus with his two peaks, and Rhodope, forced at last to part with his snowy crown. Her cold climate was no protection to Scythia. Caucasus burned, Ossa and Pindus, and greater than both Olympus, the Alps high in air. Then Phaeton beheld the world on fire, and felt the heat intolerable. The air he breathed was like the fire, the air of a furnace, and full of burning ashes, and the smoke was of a pitchy darkness. He dashed forward he knew not whither. The Libyan desert was dried up to the condition in which it remains to this day. The nymphs of the fountains with disheveled hair mourned their waters, nor were the rivers safe beneath their banks. The earth cracked open, and through the chinks light broke into Tartarus, and frightened the king of shadows and his queen. Atlas himself faints, and scarce holds up his burden. If sea, earth, and heaven perish, we fall into chaos, ancient chaos. Save what remains to us from the devouring flame. O take thought for our deliverance in this awful moment. Thus spoke the earth, overcome with heat and thirst, could say no more. Then Jupiter, omnipotent, calling to witness all the gods, including him who had lent the chariot, and showing them that all was lost, unless some speedy remedy were applied, mounted the lofty tower from whence he diffuses clouds over the earth and hurls the forked lightning. But at that time not a cloud was to be found to interpose for a screen to earth, nor was a shower remaining unexhausted. He thundered, and brandishing a lightning bolt in his right hand, launched it against the charioteer, and struck him at that moment from his seat and from existence. Phaeton, and here's an important clue, right in the myth, Phaeton, with his hair on fire, fell headlong like a shooting star, which marks the heavens with its brightness as it falls. And Eridanus, the great river, received him and cooled his burning frame. The Italian Naiads, or Nereids, reared a tomb for him, and his sisters, the Heliades, as they lamented his fate, were turned into poplar trees, and on the banks of the river, and their tears, which continued to flow, became amber as it dropped into the stream. And also, by the way, and according to some of the myths, it was their tears that then caused the great flood. So this is the preface to the tale of Atlantis. There is a story which even you have preserved, that once upon a time, Phaeton, the son of Helios, having yoked the steeds in his father's chariot, but because he was not able to drive them in the path of his father, burned up all that was upon the earth, and was himself destroyed as a thunderbolt. Now listen to what Plato says. Or this is the Egyptian priests speaking here through Plato. Now this has the form of a myth, but it really signifies a declination of the bodies moving around the earth and in the heavens, and a great conflagration of all things upon the earth, recurring at long intervals of time. This is how Plato actually begins the account of Atlantis, is by referring to this myth of the earth having this encounter with what is undoubtedly a celestial object. So now this again is the old priests talking to Solon. He says, "Many great and wonderful deeds are recorded of your state in our histories, but one of them exceeds all the rest in greatness and valor. For these histories tell of a mighty power which unprovoked made an expedition against the whole of Europe and Asia, and to which your city put an end. This power came forth out of the Atlantic Ocean, for in those days the Atlantic was navigable. And there was an island situated in front of the straits, which are by you called the Pillars of Heracles. The island was larger than Libya and Asia put together, and was the way to other islands, and from these you might pass to the whole of the opposite continent, which surrounds the true ocean." These Egyptians knew about the presence of North America, which surrounds the true ocean, because, as he says, for this sea, which is within the Straits of Heracles, which he's talking about the Mediterranean, is only a harbor, having a narrow entrance. But that other is a real sea, and the surrounding land may be most truly called a boundless continent. Okay, so now listen to what the priest goes on to say. Now, in this island is the word of Atlantis, there was a great and wonderful empire, which had rule over the whole island and several others, and over parts of the continent. So he's very much distinguishing between the continent and the island. But then he's saying, had rule over the whole island and several others, and over parts of the continent. And furthermore, the men of Atlantis had subjected the parts of Libya within the columns of Heracles as far as Egypt. This vast power, gathered into one, endeavored to subdue at a blow our country and yours and the whole region within the straits. And then Solon, your country, shone forth in the excellence of her virtue and strength among all mankind, for she was first encouraged in military skill and was the leader of the Hellenes. So then they have this big war, and led by the peoples within the Straits of Gibraltar around the Mediterranean, led by these Proto-Athenians, freely liberated all the others who dwell within the limits of Heracles. And then, afterwards, there occurred violent earthquakes and floods, and a single night of rain, all your warlike men in a body sank into the earth. So in other words, he's referring now to something that's happening in the Greek peninsula, right? And the island of Atlantis in like manner disappeared and was sunk beneath the sea. Now, to me, that is pretty explicit. Solon's trip to Egypt took place roughly 600 BC. The narrative that the Egyptians tell Solon
and this number is repeated multiple times throughout Plato's two dialogues, is 9,000 years ago. Just do the math, 11,600 years ago. So his date coincides precisely with the date of Meltwater Pulse 1b. What's interesting is that there is tremendous amount of evidence that has accumulated over the last 50 or 60 years suggesting that that rapid rise in sea level did in fact trigger massive earthquakes. And there's evidence that there was some pretty extreme subsidence of the ocean bottom as a result of isostatic compensation. When you release all the ice from the continents, you place roughly, I've worked it out, the amount of ice that melted that was transferred into the Atlantic Ocean was about 24 quadrillion metric tons.